allow me to also recognize our first Chancellor, His Excellency Festus Mohae, who is now retired, who has now been taken over by T.C. Masiwa as the new Chancellor. Excellency, 8 years ago, AMREF started its journey here in Kenya, in the areas of Kajiado, Loitoktok, starting a journey of the flying doctors then, which has now progressed to where we are today. AMREF's journey led into, as has been described, the International Training Center, which equipped thousands and thousands of frontline health workers, including, Excellency, upgrading all the original nurses who are called community nurses, post-independence, to becoming registered nurses, Kenya registered nurses, that improve their skills to provide care. We upgraded more than 10,000 in this country and more thousands across this continent, including Zambia, Tanzania, and elsewhere. But with increasing demand for skilled workforce for our primary healthcare delivery, there was a demand for numbers. Therefore, our little campus that was on Langata Road, which you know very well, Excellency, and also the demand to expand the career progression. So we moved from offering certificate training, diploma training, to bachelor's degree, and then all the master's programs that have been read here by the Commission, and more recently, seeking approval for our first PhD in public health. This progression that has demanded all these things led us to go to the board many years ago and say we need to establish a university, because we wanted to move away from collaborating with other universities like the University of Nairobi and Moi for us to establish our own accredited university. And that journey has been described to you, so I do not have to go back to that. But I just want to state that when we started the journey for getting the letter of interim authority, we needed 50 acres. You know, the Commission here demands 50 acres, not 49.9. So we had to get 50 acres. And we found our way to Makueni, Excellency, and with the support of the Makueni government, at that point led by Professor Kivutha Kibwana, they granted us 50 acres of land, with which we managed to get the letter of interim authority. But we found that very far for our students here, and therefore we are building, we are going to build a research center there, and we found a nearer home for the students closer to where they are living, and that's why we ended up where we are today. So we thank Makueni, because without their offer, we would not have been able to be where we are today. Excellency, today is a milestone as we receive this charter here at the Northlands campus, a campus variously referred to many as the best private university infrastructure. And I think you're here to witness this for yourself. And I dare say, the only one that's qualified and pursuing green building certification under the IFC. We have a lot of solar lighting here, water recycling, and everything else that reduces our energy demands by more than 25%. We warmly welcome you to this magnificent modern campus, made possible by our benefactors who have been named here, the Kenyatta family and Mackenzie Scott, who gave us the money to construct. And this campus enables us to move from a capacity of 2,000 students constrained in Langata, and this campus now can host 10,000 students in a combined model of virtual and physical learning. So we can absorb up to 10,000 students without needing to expand this infrastructure. But they say that if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. So we are not tired of dreaming. And after this charter, the next dream is to establish a level 6 research, teaching, and referral hospital that's going to be focused on something that's very close to your heart, maternal health and child health. You know, Your Excellency, that the continent of Africa loses mothers needlessly to preventable causes, and we know that when mothers die, the chance of the child to die is increased by 50%. So mother and child health is combined, but this has to be built on the base of community health systems, which you are a true believer in, and building a robust, people-centered and community-led primary health care, which also is our global strategy. So with this, we intend to build a beacon of science, service, and compassion as our teaching hospital, specifically to my right behind this tent. And we will be inviting you and the government to partner with us to establish this state-of-the-art teaching referral university. Excellency, for over 6 decades, AMREF Health Africa has championed equitable and quality primary health care, an agenda you and your government have so passionately put at the center. We appreciate the building of the primary care networks, which our team here in Kenya has worked closely with your Ministry of Education to establish. I am told that our team in AMREF Kenya, have assisted to support establishment of 100 primary care networks across the counties, in addition to providing our technical assistance in the development of the benefits package and the financing agenda for the Social Health Authority. We continue to work on this, but this university is now our execution for building a health workforce not only for Kenya and not only for Africa, but for the world. And as we build this, we realize that it's not just by training, academic training, that then charts the path for labor migration. We want our young people to find jobs in Kenya and everywhere, like your government has championed. And for us, we want to partner with your government specifically for skilled labor migration, especially for health workforce. We know that in the past, we've talked about labor migration as a negative force, brain drain, but we know in the health sector now, with analysis by World Bank and others, that labor migration is a positive force. It is actually demand and supply, provides jobs to the young people who are going to build the future of this continent, and also is a foundation for diaspora remittances, but also for skills transfer. So we as a university have established that as a core of our training, and I would like to inform Your Excellency that we've established a language center here. We are now a recognized British Council Training Center for English, so our nurses are able to undertake English training, because I'm informed that the last time Kenya tried to export nurses to the UK, Your Excellency, the failure rate on English was extremely high, and yet it is our official language. But because our friend here, the CEO of the commission, is a professor of English, his PhD is in English, we'll work closely with him to ensure that we can build a center that when our students sit the exams for the UK, they pass with the first test. We are also establishing a language center for German and French as well, working with the Goethe Institute and also the French Embassy. And at the same time, we've ensured that we provided our students an opportunity to learn sign language. Because that's one of our biggest challenges, that when people go to hospital, if actually you're somebody with any particular disability, then you cannot communicate. And we find people, especially those who are hard of hearing and are not able to communicate with the health workers. So we also have a sign language center that we're establishing here. Excellency, I believe in primary healthcare. We established the Primary Healthcare Congress. The next Congress, the second one, is going to be held 4th to 6th of March 2026 at this excellent campus. And we invite you and your government to partner with us and for you to officiate at that Congress, which we'll be inviting you officially. Excellency, the charter that you've given us today is more than a legal document, is more than legal recognition. It is a statement of confidence and credibility that your government, our country hosts, has in the mission of AMREF Health Africa. It affirms strongly our commitment to shaping Africa's health future through fit for purpose and community-led primary healthcare with innovation at the center of it. And as you know, at this time of big withdrawals in development assistance, health sovereignty is so critical. And allow me again to address you specifically and say, I appreciate you joining President Mahama in leading the Accra Reset to establish health sovereignty for this continent, that actually the continent must own its health agenda, must own the destiny of its people. And that doesn't mean that we work alone. It means that even if we do it ourselves, we will not do it alone. So thank you for joining President Mahama in creating the agenda for health sovereignty for this continent. Allow me to applaud the professionalism of the Commission. I will tell you tongue-in-cheek that since this process started with the university, I had never met Professor Kuria, I've never met Professor Awino. I met them yesterday. Yesterday is when I got their numbers for the first time. I never had to call them to ask, can we accelerate this process? That for me is testimony to the professionalism of the Ministry of Education and the Commission. So, and now that we have the charter, I can host them for Nyamachoma because now there will be no conflict of interest. To your government, thank you for your stewardship and partnership in advancing the health of the Kenyan people. To our continental government partners and the global partners, thank you for trusting us to advance the health of the citizens of our continent. To the philanthropists who support us, private sector and academia, thank you for finding us worthy of advancing our joint mission. And to all our offices of AMREF Health Africa globally, we have about more than 10 offices in Europe and North America that help us with fundraising, but they are represented here as well. We have the unit of AMREF Flying Doctors, which is granted the tax exemption set up by your government because anything they do then support the charity work. They're represented here, and of course, all the work we do in other governments. We invite all of you to work with us as we build the leading health sciences institution for Africa. For any of you who want to support our student scholarships, our advancement, any of these buildings is available for you to name. So you can call it Professor Kuria Academic Block, you can call it Excellency President William Samoei Ruto Simulation Laboratory, and for all that, you assist us to move forward the scholarships. Yesterday, the Chancellor met the students, and she had a very hard time because the students kept asking her, how do we advance scholarships? Because we have so many poor students, very bright, and they want to change their communities, but they can't afford the fees. We use a cross-subsidization model where those who can afford pay market rates and those who can't afford are provided subsidized fees. So the scholarship agenda is really great for us, and this is where we are providing all these institutions here, buildings, walkways, anything here can be named for a fee, and that goes to student scholarships. Anything you see, you can name it, except this building, which is owned by your people. To our excellent students, our guardians, our parents, and our staff, you are the reason we are here, and you remain the heartbeat of these great institutions. Congratulations to our new Chancellor, to the entire AMREF community, and may this charter mark not an end, but the beginning of an even greater story of leadership, impact, and transformation for our country, and enduring partnerships with the governments who are the real drivers of the bus when you come to the health sector. Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you very much.
After which he will humbly invite Your Excellency to address this convergence and the nation. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the Chairman of the Commission for University Education, Professor James Onyango Awino, and your team from the Commission, the leadership of AMREF International University, led by the newly installed Chancellor, congratulations, Titi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellency, it's an honor and privilege to join you once again this week for the award of charter to AMREF International University. On Monday this week, Your Excellency, we were privileged to witness as you awarded charter to Great Star University. At the very outset, may I express our profound gratitude for your readiness to support and accommodate the education sector activities. This confirms your commitment to addressing the key imperatives of the education sector: access, quality, and relevance. The Kenya Kwanza administration, under your leadership, has deliberately provided expansion and access to higher education by establishing more learning institutions and fostering affordability in higher education through the student-centered funding model and rationalization of program costs. In the last 3 years, enrollment in tertiary institutions has grown significantly because of these strategic interventions. Your Excellency, the university that you are awarding charter today exemplifies how service, science, and art can build an institution that truly changes lives. This institution has grown from a medical foundation that began in the field where health challenges were real and communities needed skilled and compassionate hands. The many years of experience and capacity that AMREF has built over the years and over the decades have formed a foundation that interfaces education, health, and community service, and through this university, it will continue to do so. With this charter, the institution will now be positioned to play an even greater role in providing education and training that responds to real needs of Kenya, Africa, and the world, and especially in the health sector. Your Excellency, as we commend the leadership of the university of this remarkable milestone, we also call upon them to rise to the occasion of this new status. The gains that have been made over the years, such as partnerships with the premier health organizations like the World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control, must be consolidated. At the same time, the university must break new ground and conquer new frontiers to enhance its relevance and sustainability in an ever-changing environment. Your Excellency, under your leadership, we will continue the work of creating and enabling legal and policy environments so that our institutions of higher learning can thrive and remain fit for purpose. As I conclude, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate AMREF International University fraternity for the hard work, commitment, and sacrifices that have been made this remarkable milestone achievable. I'm confident that with the same spirit and drive, this institution will grow from strength to strength and transform the lives of many in our society and beyond. Your Excellency, with these few remarks, it's now my distinct honor to welcome you to deliver your speech. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Minister. Please, let's take our seats once more. Madam Chancellor, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to preside over this yet another key moment in our country's journey to strengthen education, expand opportunity, and build a healthier and more resilient nation. We gather to honor AMREF International University, an institution that has earned its place as a leader in health sciences in this continent. This charter is not a symbolic gesture. It is a recognition of excellence, integrity, and demonstrated impact. It is an acknowledgement that when institutions align purpose with action, they transform societies. One of the most remarkable things about AMREF International University is that its story did not begin in lecture halls or boardrooms. It began in villages, clinics, and communities across Africa. Before there were classrooms, there were outreach teams. Before there were degree programs, there were health workers trained to serve where the need was greatest. Before titles and credentials, there was trust, earned through service, compassion, and results. That is why today's honor carries deep meaning. You have built credibility from the ground up or from the bottom up, anchored in real human need. This university stands as a powerful example of Africa's capacity to produce knowledge, craft solutions, and shape its own future. Since its establishment in 2017, it has grown from the strong foundation of AMREF Health Africa, an organization with nearly 7 decades of service to community health in more than 30 countries. What began as AMREF International Training Center has evolved into a premier Pan-African university dedicated to training health professionals who lead with innovation, empathy, and integrity. The university's progress speaks for itself. From just 246 students in 2018, AMREF International University now serves more than 3,800 learners from 32 countries across Africa. 70% of the students I am informed, are women, an inspiring indicator of its commitment to advancing women's leadership in health. And it is no chance that the Chancellor is also a great lady. Some 13% of the students currently benefit from scholarships, helping to expand inclusive and equitable access to education. Since 2018, the institution has graduated 1,665 professionals who are now serving communities across the continent, strengthening health systems, advancing primary health care, and saving lives. Ladies and gentlemen, this institution is demonstrating what an African university can be when it embraces innovation and stays close to the realities of the people it serves. Through open and distance e-learning, the Research and Community Extension programs, the Health Entrepreneurship Academy, and the Center of Excellence for Primary Health Care, the university is not only educating students, but also shaping problem solvers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. This is precisely the kind of transformation needed in our continent. As AMREF International University receives its charter, we recognize not only an institution, but also a philosophy that Africa's challenges can be solved by African institutions. African ideas and African leadership can contribute meaningfully to solutions for our region. To the founders and early champions of this university, you dared to imagine that the continent could build its own centers of medical excellence. You refused to wait for solutions from elsewhere. You built them here at home, and we applaud your courage, your vision, and your relentless service to humanity. I must commend Githinji Gitahi for the comments that he has made, especially the dedication of AMREF University to training health professionals. It is a space that speaks to the needs of the present and speak loudly to the needs of the future. As I speak to you, 3 years ago, we converted community health volunteers, people who went out of their way as volunteers to serve communities in different aspects. We converted them to community health promoters. We now have close to 110,000 community health promoters across Kenya. We pay them now a stipend. We have given them very basic training. We have equipped them with gadgets and equipment that they can use in our communities. Proudly this morning, I was being given the statistics that they have visited 8 million people in Kenya, referred close to 500,000 to hospitals. I am asking AMREF, because your strength is in working with communities and the space around health workers. We will be working with you, and I will get the Ministry of Health to work with you to see how we can enhance the capacity through training of our community health promoters so that they can do more to our health space. I know, Gitahi, you have said that you have trained 10,000. I want to tell you I have another 110,000, which you can train. And it is a very primary aspect of health. As we all know, as the people of Kenya, we have been focused, and we have made, I think, 3 or 4 attempts at universal health coverage. But this time round, we decided that failure is not an option. And that is why we have rolled out universal health coverage. We've changed the legal foundation. We now have 4 pieces of legislation. We have come with the primary health fund, and I want to commend AMREF because they worked with us on the setup of primary PCNs, primary care networks around the country. We now have 315. We have clustered communities and health facilities so that it becomes easier for us to manage. And we couldn't have done it without the support of AMREF. They not only gave us support in terms of the human capital and the training that was necessary, they even gave us sponsorship. So on behalf of the government of Kenya, I want to say to AMREF, we sincerely thank you for your partner for equipping that hospital. I have some ideas. So if you pay a visit to me, I will tell you how to equip that hospital. It is the same innovative mechanism that today we are equipping hospitals across Kenya under a fee-for-service arrangement that doesn't give you a huge financial outlay for you to have the equipment. And I am looking forward to working with you as we expand the footprint of health infrastructure in Kenya, because health is a constitutional requirement. Section 43 of the Constitution demands of government to provide every citizen to the highest standards of health. And I did commit that health is no longer going to be a privilege for those who have the means, who have jobs, or who have the wherewithal. It's going to be a right of every citizen. And I'm very proud that we are walking that journey, and AMREF has been a great partner as we move in that direction. Kenya's private universities play a central role in shaping our human capital. Of the 82 chartered universities in the country, 37 are private, and today AMREF International University become the 39th university after Monday's 38th university. Private universities account for more than 20% of all university enrollment and are essential partners in expanding access to quality higher education. They innovate faster, adapt more quickly to industry needs, and stand ready to respond when the country faces shortage in critical skills. When Kenya needed more health workers, institutions like this one stepped forward. This is what it means to build a nation that works for its people. Africa carries 25% of the global disease burden, but has only 3% of the world's health workers. Kenya currently has about 189,000 registered health workers. But to achieve global standards and for our universal health coverage plan, we need at least 300,000 more in the coming decade. And AMREF International University is going to be a central cog in making sure that we have these personnel. This is why your work is not ordinary. It is strategic. It is national in importance and continental in relevance. Our education system must produce graduates who can solve real problems. That is why we are reforming learning from early childhood to the university. Our competence-based education and training system is being strengthened to ensure learners acquire practical and relevant skills. At the technical and vocational level, more than 2,000 institutions are now training over 700,000 young people for industry. In our universities, enrollment currently stands at 650,000 students. Through the new higher education funding model, students receive government support based on their levels of financial need. And for the first time, scholarships loans, and bursaries are being distributed fairly and transparently. To expand access further, we established the Open University of Kenya, ensuring that quality education becomes available to every Kenyan who needs it, anywhere, every time. We are also strengthening funding for science and innovation. The new Kenya National Research Fund framework prioritizes research in health, agriculture, manufacturing, and climate change. And universities that align their research with national priorities will receive support to scale up their impact. That information is very relevant to the Vice Chancellor. If you speak to Professor Shaukat, who I appointed Principal Secretary for Research, I did establish a standalone state department because research continuously is becoming essential and central to any meaningful progress in a nation. And therefore, we have consolidated all our research resources, funding, and strategy in one state department. If you engage him, we are looking at priority areas that will spur greater impact in areas that are important to the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya's future depends on the well-being of its people. Our healthcare reforms, including the Social Health Insurance Act, the Digital Health Act, the Primary Health Care Act, aim to ensure every Kenyan receives quality and affordable care. But policies alone cannot treat patients. Health workers, institutions like this are therefore essential to the success of our reforms. As you enter this new era, under your charter, I challenge AMREF International University to do three things. Number one, expand access by partnering with county governments to train health workers closer to the communities that need them the most. And in this particular aspect, I am talking about we have so many community health workers. We have so many other health workers that do not have the level of training and the level of education that would make them efficient and much more effective. Second, accelerate research with purpose. I have told you, Vice Chancellor, where you're going to get the money. Kenya needs evidence that reduces maternal deaths, strengthens primary care, and combats emerging diseases, not academic papers that sit untouched on shelves. Vice Chancellor, I hope you are taking notes. Third, invest in ethical leadership. The health sector runs on trust, and it is therefore imperative to train professionals who uphold the highest standards of service, honesty, integrity, and respect for life. To the faculty and leadership, this achievement is very well earned. To the students, this charter is not just an honor. It is an invitation to rise to greater responsibility. To our partners, thank you for standing with AMREF on this journey, the Kenyatta family, and all the other benefactors. And to the Commission for University Education, continue safeguarding quality without compromise. And I have listened to you very well, Mr. Chairman, and I am going to provide the necessary approvals for you to hire adequate staff so that you can discharge the responsibility mandated of the community university, of the Commission for University Education as appropriately as is required. And Minister Migosi already, I think, has already done what is necessary. If it is not enough, please let me know so that we can facilitate your work. Today, we welcome AMREF International University fully into Kenya's family of chartered universities. May this institution continue to inspire knowledge, service, and hope for our country and our continent. Congratulations, my very best wishes, and God bless you.